are live, and it's been only a week since we've done a draft, and that one went so well with Numi that I figured I'd jump on here. Let's do a solo resurrection draft. They're ending after tomorrow, I believe. You're going to get a few more hours to get those in, and it's looking like there might be a ton of overlay. So why don't we go ahead and talk about everything that's happened this week in football and do a little draft. So as you can see, flying solo tonight. Eric Beimfor has some stuff to get taken care of today. A lot of work. Tuesdays, believe it or not, are one of the busiest work days for people in the fantasy industry, which is sounds crazy, right? But you're getting all the data and stuff. Anyways, nobody cares. So today we are going to do a resurrection draft. I was flirting with the idea of doing a big dog, but I feel like it might take a little bit too long for that to fill. As it is, the resurrection is only half full. And like I said, it's going to be ending quite soon. So why don't we go ahead and share our screen and see that we have the lobby open as I move things around, probably move things around a little more. Yeah, if you look, it's only like half full right now. The big dog has only run 2. I kind of really want to fire a big dog, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. But for now, we are going to do this resurrection draft. And let's enter it now. And we'll just kind of talk about football over the last week as we do this draft. Oh, look, we're only waiting for 4. So if you wanted to jump in, now's the time to do it. I'm going to move things around because this is what I do. I make things real weird for everybody, but it's fine. I haven't done one of these since we drafted last week, and I'm not sure if anyone watched that, but it is such a shock to your system if you were drafting from February all the way till kickoff of this NFL year. You kind of just got so used to the pockets. I drafted, well over 600 teams, probably over 700 teams, somewhere in that vicinity. And you just got used to where everyone was going. So if one person moved, it was fine. So we get the 8-pick care. Is that good? Is that bad? Nobody knows right now. So if you guys can see that fine, let me know. I can try to zoom things in a bit. We can throw the board up for now. Kind of zoom out while the board's up. But yeah, the resurrection drafts are a bit different. And I just want to kind of look through. So our top players on this is Cooper Kupp, obviously. Justin Jefferson is coming in at the 2. So this whole wide receiver running back debate that we had all offseason, we're seeing that 3 of the top 4 picks are wide receivers with Saquon Barkley mixed in. And then Josh Allen is your 5th overall pick right now with Kelsey right behind. So this is what a lot of the people in our little community, the Spike Week, the best ball community, like I guess I would say like the ship chasing community as well. This is all the guys that we coveted in the drafts this year. I'm not going to beat a dead horse for the moment, but we also have been talking about this quarterback situation and how the game has changed with quarterback because of the upside that some of these guys bring you. And we see 3 of them almost going in the first round right now. So we see this draft start a little bit different where Kupp is not the first overall pick. It goes Jefferson, Kelsey, Barkley, Kupp. So that's a bit interesting. We see Diggs is still on board. So you're probably not getting, any Diggs Allen stacks in this resurrection draft unless you did it early and that was a combo you could get. I ate chocolate for dinner, which was a bad idea. I'm still starving, and here I am drafting. So we see Diggs go. We see McCaffrey on board. We see Nick Chubb on board. Nick Chubb is having a hell of a year this year as well. We see Allen go. So for me, I don't know what I'm going to want to do here. I think so. McCaffrey goes. I think Chase is going to bounce back. He has to, right? Andrews feels like a smart pick as well. Man, the running back position is just so gross. Do we just eat it and take Chubb and see what falls to us? Eh, let's stay on brand. Let's take Jamar Chase. Let's double, triple, quadruple down on Jamar Chase here, as they're gonna try to get things a little bit together in Cincinnati and maybe make him even more of the offense. I think we had talked about this in the offseason about Cincinnati kind of regressing a bit. The head coach there is not my favorite coach. He is more of a run first guy. These are things we talked about, but I do think that they can find a way to uptick that offense. So we'll take Chase. Chubb was someone I was looking at, maybe grabbing in that spot. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea too. We see Lamar on board still. So when do we take the quarterback? That's the question. Do we try to take one of these top three guys? Because I just think they are pretty much almost in a league by themselves with Mahomes right there. Those three guys, and then you have Mahomes like just knocking on the door. He just doesn't offer the exact rushing upside of those three, obviously. So that's going to be an interesting way to look at these drafts going forward. Do you want to put that draft capital in a QB that early? So we got CMG, we got Jonas Bro. We could grab Lamar in the second round if we wanted to. Maybe it would have made sense to grab Mark Andrews, get that Andrews Lamar stack if possible. Looks like it's not that easy to get. I think if Lamar's there, we're going to take him. His ADP right now is like 8.9. I really like a lot of these wide receivers that are left. Well, let's grab Lamar. Let's just get our quarterback. Lamar is a stud this year. Let's kind of play this ADP game a little bit. So let me put the board back up now that we've taken our picks so you can kind of see what's going on here. Let's talk about Carolina. As we see Christian McCaffrey go 7th overall, there's been a lot of trade rumors. Matt Rule got fired this week. That offense is tough to watch. And we see the reports about them talking about Baker Mayfield is going to be involved in the next head coach that they hire. And why? I was trying to get on Baker Mayfield late in the draft season because he was going in the 18th round. And I just thought there was firepower on that offense that he could have been a decent 18th, 17th round pick. And I think we have realized just by watching him play in Carolina how right OBJ was when he, was coming out against the team trying to get traded and everything. How much did he hamstring that Cleveland Browns team? That team had high potential, and we knew Baker wasn't playing well, but man, he could have been holding that team back from like doing something really, really good. AFC championships, possibly Super Bowls. That's shooting high, but if they had a decent quarterback, I don't think it was out of the realm of possibility there. So we are just seeing tons of yellow go. We had a run of 6 straight wide receivers with A.J. Brown, C.D. Evans, Amon-Ra, T. Higgins, DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is fun because he's going to be back. I think it's week 8 because I think they have the bye in week 7, if I recall off the top of my head. Could be wrong on that, but he's going to be coming back soon. They really need him in Arizona. They're a tough team to watch because you just want them to be so much more than what they are. Let's go ahead and see what's on board here. So we see like Mixon, DeAndre Swift is a fun pick. He goes. We got Waddle on board. We got Mike Williams on board. We still have Mixon hanging around, and we already have Jamar. Mixon has been playing relatively decent. He only has 1 touchdown this year, though. That's interesting. I think the offense as a whole has just been stagnant. Let's grab Waddle. I am a big fan of Waddle, and let's see what comes back to us. This RB spot. RB is going to get tough quick, though, probably. I don't know how I want to do this. Again, when you're so used to drafting a certain way and you're not firing a ton of these, they are not as easy to build when you don't know the pockets. And then you have constantly evolving stuff. Like there's a certain running back that I'm going to be looking into probably in the 5th round or so to grab. That his ADP is probably buried a little bit, but circumstances allowed him to become really juicy for the next 5 weeks, and he still has a ton of value after the next 5 weeks or so. So we'll be looking at that. Go back to the board view for a second. Gabe Davis was a guy I was considering grabbing. Was always on the Gabe Davis train. A lot of detractors on that train, and then he comes out, and if you didn't have him in DFS, you were dead in 13 seconds this week to go with his jersey number? Like he just buried you immediately. As soon as you saw him catch that bomb of a touchdown, you knew if he wasn't in your lineup, you were not winning that week. And he was a last minute pull for me. He was one of the guys I was looking at, and we had a bad week in DFS. And Ramondre is actually the guy I was talking about, who I was going to start looking at, and he goes in the 4th, so I think that's pretty sharp. We got Pierce here. We got Christian Kirk. Let's grab Josh Jacobs. Feels gross, doesn't it? But 4th round Josh Jacobs had his career best performance a couple weeks ago. Looked great. He's getting all the usage there. I think people still don't like clicking on his name. He should probably be higher based on what's going on this season. So we will grab Josh Jacobs. Really wanted to grab Christian Kirk for the brand, but where we have Jamar and Waddle, let's balance this RB room out just a tad. 0 RB is a little tougher to do in season when this stuff is already kind of hitting the fan. So let's kind of anchor that RB core with Josh Jacobs, who just really looks good this year. He's currently helping pull me and Overzet's big dog team into a ticket, but that's going to be a long battle this season. It is a good room, and there is a bunch of people around the top 5-6 spots in that, maybe even more. Let's bring the board back up. Dameon Pierce was a consideration. I just like Jacobs a little more than Pierce this season because I think the offense is a bit better. I think his opportunities overall will be a little bit more high value. But Dameon Pierce is proving that he is the dude, right? Dameon Pierce on Houston is the guy. Became a meme by the end of the year because he got moved up so high from basically going undrafted to like the 4th, 5th round by the end of the season. And people were saying you can't draft him, but if you're the dude, you're the dude. And he's the dude. We said dude quite a bit right there, but it's fine. Olave goes. I'm interested in the injury status on Olave. I have not looked that up yet. Again, it's Tuesday, so that's interesting. Keenan Allen looks like he's about ready to come back, even though they probably wanted to fire him for questioning the team on Twitter on Sunday. But yeah, Carolina. We didn't finish our Carolina discussion. With Matt Rule gone, do you think, and Baker down, do you think they try to get creative? Do we think they're going to try to trade people? That's what I'm wondering as well. Are they going to try to just initiate a full rebuild? I think they should. You can get something for CMC right now. Why not trade him to a team that wants him? I mean, I think this is a flaw in a lot of NFL GMs where they never want to trade anybody. We've seen it get relaxed a bit in the last couple of years where it does start to happen more. It just didn't exist back in the day for the most part. I would like to see CMC go to a better situation and just kind of see what he still really has left in the tank, because he still looks decent and in the right spot. God, can you imagine him going to Buffalo or going to Kansas City? Oh man, it would be exciting. Quite exciting. All right. So we are looking here. We got how the mighty have fallen. We have Christian Kirk still on board here. I mean, I don't know how I don't smash this. He has one bad game and everybody's off of him. We've seen what he's been doing in Jacksonville. I mean, I'm gonna grab Kirk as my third wideout here. That seems like an easy smash for me. So right now we are sitting on Lamar, Josh Jacobs, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Christian Kirk. Don't hate the start. We'll see what we can kind of do around on this next pick in a few. There's a certain way I'd like to go with it. We'll see if we get it. If we don't, no biggie. Lamar's been interesting too, because he's been a little more docile the last few weeks, but he just started off like a rocket ship. Like, you needed Lamar to be in any type of contention in some of these best ball leagues to start the year. He's come back to earth a bit, but the whole point of Lamar is he's got that 40-point upside. He will just break one on you, and he looks great passing, which I love to see. I really want Lamar to succeed. I was always a little worried about him being sort of like Cam Newton, where the shelf life was going to be low because of the way he played, but he's just making it look like he's going to be able to play in this league for a long time and just absolutely crush souls, which you love to see. Not even a Ravens fan. Can't stand the Ravens, but Lamar, love Lamar. How can you not? How can you watch football and not love Lamar Jackson? You should probably not watch football anymore. So I did want to grab Goddard. That was kind of where I was going. Romeo Doubs up in the 6th round, huh? Oof. James Robinson does not feel great in the 6th. We got Connor, who has not been doing great. You know what? I'm going to grab Kittle. Not having a good year. Getting a round discount on him from where he was before. He only got 15 targets this year. But let's go ahead. Did I star him? I did. Okay, so we're going to grab Kittle. We'll lock up our tight end. He's got Jimmy throwing to him. Maybe we can find a way to start getting him a little more involved going forward. So let's grab George Kittle. Really would have liked Goddard. Might be a fish play. Might be a fish. But the position is so bad. It is so bad. So then we have to figure out, are we wasting a pick because Kittle hasn't been good? You know, we saw Waller go out with the injury. Goddard's on one of the best offenses in the league. So that's who we were hoping fell to us. Pickens is all the way up in the 6th round now. Things are changing. Rashad Bateman in the 6th round. That actually makes sense. I was thinking of Duvernay when I said Bateman. So disregard that. Rashad Bateman in the 6th is totally fine. That's probably where we would have went had he fallen to us. But I'm fine with it. There's some late stacking options, I'm sure, still with Lamar that we won't hate. And it's likely we'll get one. I don't know if you saw what I did there. Sort of if you're in the chat, how many of you have fired these resurrection drafts? What are your thoughts on them? Are you drafted out from the NFL season? Are you just playing DFS? Or does the resurrection draft still interest you? Breathing Fantasy Football, literally nice draft so far. Thanks, man. I think it's going good, and you got 5 drafts so far. I think this is my 3rd. And like I said, I'm going to be looking. I do a lot of content stuff on Tuesdays. You didn't grab him 101, Felix? Felix said he just did a draft today and got Najee in the 5th. We just saw him go in the 4th or 5th as well. I mean, that's probably too low for Najee. I know the Steelers are abysmal, are absolutely abysmal. But, I mean, 5th round Najee, eh, eh, that might be jumping the shark a little bit, just a tad. What I was saying, which I will get back to after we draft our next player. So what do we got? We got one running back. All right. We're going to try to make some moves here. I got some ideas on what I'd like to have happen. We'll see where these guys go. We got a 1-2-3-0 build throughout them. We got a Steel City in front of us with 4 RBs, which is impressive. Yeah, GA. I'll address that shortly. I wanted to go McLaurin here. That was kind of where I was hoping to go. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go Singletary because he was who I was hoping to get on the wrap, and then I know who I want to try to get now on the wrap. So we'll grab Singletary. So GA says might be right with Tomlin saying Warren will be in the mix more. I mean, yeah, my whole thing is I'm just scared of Najee because that offense just is abysmal. And it's not Warren that worries me so much as, again, high value touches. Like they can't get into the red zone, they can't score. Warren coming in just might be more part of the passing game or whatever. It's not a good scene for Najee. I'm not like a Najee hater like a lot of people either. I think he's fine. Like he's an NFL running back that on the right squad would be probably a top 5 back. You put him on some of these other offenses, he's going to be a stud. He just unfortunately is in his second year on a team that is in knee deep in a rebuild and they don't have a quarterback. And I don't think Pickett's going to be the answer. We don't think Trubisky's the answer there. So it's a tough scene and the shelf life on running backs is short. So who knows what happens with Najee in the future, but I do think that he still has some value in the top rounds. Let's see. So where I wanted to go was DJ Moore, but he goes. So that kind of sucks. Not sure I'm liking the way this draft is unfolding now. We can... ETN was where I was kind of considering going. It's already gross, huh? I think we got to grab Ayuk, set up something for later. Where do we just grab Thielen? What's Thielen been doing this year? Just on 1 touchdown, huh? The offense is so good. Let's grab Ayuk. No, grab Ayuk. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, traffic, Felix. Gross. I live it every day, man. I live the traffic life every day. It's a little bit better for me as I'm in Boston. I have to deal with Boston traffic every single day of my life. And it was taking me, I'm sure nobody cares about this, but it was taking me up to 2.5 hours to get home when I was working till 3 o'clock. So I would get home at like 5:30 some nights, rush to do this stream. Now I'm working 5 to 1. So I have to wake up at like 3:30 in the morning, which is the worst, by the way. But somehow the traffic was worse. So we are dealing with that. That's my traffic story. If you have a traffic story, leave it in the chat. We'll talk about traffic. These resurrection drafts are brutal. People chasing weeks 1 to 5 stats. Yeah, I mean, chasing weeks 1 to 5, but you're actually getting you got a good sample now. You got a quarter of the season through. So you can kind of see what teams are doing, how they're leaning. That's kind of the thought process. But some of these are chasing weeks 1 to 5 stats. Some are just showing you the way they're playing offense. Like the Christian Kirk thing, we see him fall after 1 bad game, but you've seen his target share every other week. They had a bad game. They're the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not an elite team in the NFL. Their offense is good, but they played a division opponent who just hammered them on that one game. You play that game 10 times. It doesn't run that way, 10 out of 10 times. And look at this run of running backs. These guys are just going all in, huh? So the whole point of that is you have to read the tea leaves. What are these teams doing? What is an outlier? What is the actual team doing here? And just to keep bringing up Kirk, he's clearly a number one wide receiver. He's clearly got upside value. So to let him drop a full round because he had one game, it's easy to grab. Duvernay in the 9th goes. We were talking about him earlier. No, I totally understand. Breathing said that some teams had favorable matchups and some have not. That's what I meant by chasing the early quarter this season so far. I mean, it's valid. It's just I'm looking at the usage usually. How are teams using their players? So there's going to be outliers. There's going to be teams that are showing you exactly how they're going to be playing for the entire season. Let's see, that Steel City is on the clock. Doesn't have a quarterback yet. Maybe he decides to grab Jared Goff or Trevor Lawrence. Goff feels like a super bad pick in the 9th round, just to say. I mean, I know that so I think this kind of goes to your point. I think they were just running hot. I think Detroit's fine as an offense. I don't know if I want 9th round Jared Goff. We're going to grab Thielen. Not a guy I'm like super high on, but we get Thielen. So we got Lamar, Jacob, Singletary, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, George Kittle. It's not setting up too bad. Let's go back to this view. Scroll down. Oh, look at that. We are popular enough to have some of the sex bots popping up. Weirdly, I'm going to jinx myself. We get a decent amount of viewers at Hometown Ghost Stories on Tuesday nights. Spooky season, by the way. Resurrection draft. This all ties in. But we have not gotten any sex bots that I've noticed in that chat. So they just really like fantasy football. Sex bots are big fans of fantasy football. See, Aaron Rodgers, Rashad White. Rashad White's a fun pick in the 9th round. Seeing his usage ticking up a bit. Tua goes. Tua's probably a good pick. Derek actually double taps quarterback with Carr and Tua, which is a fun little thing to do there. I don't know how I want to play this at the moment. Is Jahan Dotson falling in these, or was he higher because of the injury that he should be okay from? Right? Doesn't practice today, but I think he's not going to be out for too long. He only had one. Elijah Moore only had one catch against Miami. He's got 30 targets, though, on the year. No touchdowns yet for Elijah Moore. That's interesting. Let's grab Cam Akers. Let's scroll a bit. Cam Akers not having a great year, but I do think when the Rams are in front, you're going to see more Akers. I like him as a 3rd RB. That's an interesting little tidbit that you've noticed DJ Dallas going undrafted still today almost. Yeah, I mean, that's a hell of a pick. We might be able to squeeze him in a little bit later. GA, I know Akers sucks. He can't pass protect, but he's our 3rd RB, right? He's our 3rd RB on an offense that's been underperforming. So, and you've seen when they've been leading that they were leaning on him a bit more, and they've still tried to get him going. Is it futile? Probably. But it was still a 10th round pick. And if he does turn it around enough, then it could be a very valuable 3rd round pick. We're going to be counting on our wide receivers on this team per usual, with a core like Jamar Chase, Waddle, Kirk, Ayuk, and Thielen. I think it's fine to take a stab on Akers in that spot as our 3rd RB. And I like to get a little different. I like to scroll a bit sometimes, mix up my my draft order of players. I have this down way too much. You know who's a great pick? And God, I hate saying he's a great pick. Deshaun Watson is probably a smash in the spot. I just don't want to talk about him too much, but 10th round Deshaun Watson is probably really good with that offense. Something people should be looking at. We're here to make money. We can, we don't even need to get into that discussion again. We've done it enough. We've done the Deshaun Watson discussion enough. Anyways, let's talk about spooky stuff just real quick. It's October. If you're into ghost stuff, Hometown Ghost Stories, Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. I just recorded with Chris Jericho again, if you're a wrestling fan. So you might be hearing me on Talk is Jericho soon for the second time, which is a lot of fun. What do we got coming up here? We got Gerald Everett still available, which I kind of don't hate an idea of taking Everett if he's still there. Just getting Kittle, getting Everett. I think that's a good 1-2 punch at tight end. Really locks in that 2 tight end build, which, so shockingly, let's grab Everett. Well, let's start Everett. Let's do some scrolling. All right, let's grab Everett. I know where I'd like to go after this. I don't know where you're talking about, GA. Who, what? Anyways, we got Everett. That kind of locks in our 2 tight end build. So what I was saying is my highest scoring BBM team right now is shockingly a 4 tight end build. I think it's Noah Fant. It might be Gerald Everett, Taysom Hill, and somebody else. But that is by far it is my highest scoring team, and it's like not even close. It's just barely outside of the top 500 board right now. And point being is, going forward, people might be just absolutely punting this tight end position and just grabbing guys late. 3-4 tight end builds going forward is going to be a discussion we're going to have next year, especially after a year like this, where if it wasn't Kelsey or Andrews for the most part, you have your outlier games by like TJ Hawkinson. Does it make sense to just completely punt that position and just get, a collection of guys late in the draft? Those are things that we could be discussing going forward. All right. So right now we are at a 1-3-5-2 build. Typically, I like to have 6 wide receivers by now, normally. But I think our core of wideouts is pretty solid at the moment. We did see a running back that's usage is ticking down, but I think he still holds some value going forward, and especially if there's an injury. Man, when is Elijah Mitchell supposed to be back? That's something I should know. All right. So I like Madison a ton, but we got Waddle. We're going to be double dipping on a team no matter what. Let's grab Edmonds. I was going to switch to Madison, but I didn't have time. Whatever. We will take Chase Edmonds as our 4th RB. Hope to get some explosion games out of him here and there when they're playing from behind. GA says he has a bunch of Pitts teams being saved by Higbee and Everett. Higbee was one of my big tight end targets in that range that he was going. He's been doing well. Hasn't played out from the perspective that I was viewing it from, where I thought that the Rams were going to be one of the top, offenses in the league, so that his opportunity was going to be up there. But he's still gotten all of the work that we thought he was going to get. So I do like that you're able to save some of your Pitts teams, and hopefully Pitts comes back and shows something. I was upset at the end of the year because my Pitts exposure was lower than I wanted. Right now, I'm getting bailed out because he isn't playing well, but I'm not happy about it. I want Pitts to succeed. It'd make football more fun if a player like that. It just sucks that the tight end position, it really takes that 3-year mark to break out from what we're seeing. I was really hoping he was going to break the mold on that. I mean, he had a great first year, obviously. He broke the mold the first year, just touchdown regression. Well, regression can't regress when you haven't done anything, but just the touchdown variance kind of killed him in year one. And now he's just absolutely getting marked. Atlanta sucks. That was the concern going into the year. Atlanta sucks. They are a terrible team right now. They're offensively, they are offensive. Offensively is the way that I will word it. And it's just not fun to watch. They are not a fun team to watch, and it sucks for specifically Kyle Pitts and Drake London. So we're seeing a lot of purple on our board. We are all set at that position, though. We don't even have to look at tight end. And we're looking at like Josh Reynolds, Kadarius Toney. Like, dude, that guy could have been so good, and he just does what he does, which is finds a way to not be on the field. It's almost like he's actively looking to not play football. It's just impressive. And we see why the Giants were looking to trade him. Like, I mean, I know obviously not because of the injuries, but they were just so sick of him already after 1 year. So we see Zach Wilson go. I think I want to take a shot here on Christian Watson, even though he leaves with a hamstring injury in the last game. That wasn't fun. But oh my God, I'm probably going to hate this team because I have ideas of what I want to do. But let's grab Hines. Let's grab Naheem Hines. I think you all know what I'm kind of planning to do on this next pick, which is going to be gross. But we might not have to grab another running back now, and then we might just pound wide receivers. That might be the play. I think we're strong. We have strong cores, and we can just kind of take shots on some guys. And Garoppolo goes right after. Who does this guy even have on his team? Does he have Debo? Doesn't even have Debo. And he's grabbing Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, my God. Disgusting. Disgusting. Okay, well, that changes things. All right. We're going to start taking some shots on some upside for the future here. How do you take Jimmy Garoppolo? I didn't even want to take Jimmy Garoppolo, and I had 2 of his pass catching options. I was doing it because I was diving on the grenade for this draft. I was going to help everyone around me just get Jimmy Garoppolo off the board for him, and they do this to me. Disgusting. But, I mean, if you want to give me Matt Stafford this late in the draft, then I'll take him. Sex bots are all about it. Why is this in the CSGO category? That's a good question, Pawn. I do not know. And I can promise you that I don't play Counter-Strike. At least I knew what it was. I think it's Counter-Strike. So I'm sure there's plenty of Counter-Strike channels for you to find and watch if you're not into best ball. But if you're into best ball, stay. We're doing a draft. Maybe it's because it's under strategic games. And this is strategic games. Best ball resurrection. Only my third one. We are not great at it right now. But we do get Matt Stafford like three rounds past ADP. We got that little bit of a weird Matt Stafford, Cam Akers stack, which is not ideal. Gainwell is a fun pick in the 14th round. So let's go over our team real quick. We went Jamar Chase, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Waddle, Josh Jacobs, Christian Kirk, George Kittle, Devin Singletary, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, Cam Akers, Gerald Everett, Chase Edmonds, Naheem Hines, Matt Stafford in the 14th. And we got sniped. Can you imagine getting sniped on Jimmy Garoppolo? Like, how dare we? How dare these people snipe us on Jimmy Garoppolo? I can't even stand Jimmy Garoppolo. All right. We are in the 15th. Coming up. So I think I'm just looking at like some of the builds of the people that are on us. And if you look at like Wounded Geese here, he's got a badge. So he's done quite a bit of these drafts. He went 2570. So I expect to see like this build happen a little bit more frequently and tick up in some of the touts and stuff we're going to start talking about, including myself, that you just punt tight end till the end. He gets Evan Ingram as his first tight end, which is fine. He just pounds every other position. It's probably a great build. He's probably going to grab 2 more tight ends, maybe even, 3. But he's clearly going to probably have a 3 tight end build at minimum. And with Evan Ingram as your first one, more than fine. The position's been so brutal this year. Just absolutely so brutal. All right, we are coming up on the clock. I would like to start grabbing some wideouts here. And I want to take some that have some high upside. All right, so let's grab Sky Moore over some of these other guys. Just his snaps have been ticking up quite a bit. So let's grab him, get our chief. Matt Collins had a great, little run there. He's still getting some work, but with Renfrow back, he doesn't look like he's going to be like a top tier play, although Waller being out might help him. See how long he's out. Brent says Geese, baby. I'm guessing that's either you or you know them. Did we grab Thielen? We did. All right. So we got Thielen. Just thinking about Osborne here. I think I really like Donovan Peoples-Jones with Deshaun Watson coming back. He's been getting the targets. Like, he's probably the play in that spot. So round 16, we got 2 more picks coming up. Don't hate our team, is what I'll say. So we'll kind of monitor this Wounded Geese situation, see what he does. Oh, very cool, Brent. That's you. So I'm guessing I called your little strat. Not that it was hard to when we're this deep in the draft, but going with that late tight end build, I think it's smart. I think it is. I think the 2 things we're going to be discussing a ton next year is how to draft tight end. How many people do we evaluate as elite tight ends? And is it 1? Is it 2? We're going to have the Kelsey age discussion again next year because God forbid we don't have that until he retires. We're going to talk about Mark Andrews, maybe 1 or 2 other guys. Maybe we try to do Pitts again. But if we're not doing those guys, are we just punting tight end going forward? And the other discussion is going to be quarterback. It just, it has to be. We're seeing 3 quarterbacks go in the first round, roughly right now, close to the first round. 4 of them going in the first 2 rounds. The game's changing. Fantasy football has changed. The quarterbacks have changed the game. That is the question. Are you going to do 4 tight end or 3 quarterbacks? I didn't see who your quarterbacks were to make that guess. I guess we can scroll up. You got Russ. You got Herbert. I mean, I don't think you need 3 if you have Herbert, but to each their own. That's the other funny thing. My highest scoring team right now in Best Ball Mania doesn't have Lamar or Jalen Hurts or even Patrick Mahomes. It is a Justin Herbert team, which is wild. I think it's Justin Herbert and Jared Goff. So, Goff had that explosion game. We see Dolchitz go. It's fun. Ingram, Komet, Dolchitz. That's fun, Geese. Let's see what we're working with here. I don't think we need a QB. We got Lamar. I like more wideouts. We might become a real homer here. I mean, Aguilar just seems fine this late. I don't know what the injury is. You would think I would know because I like the Patriots. Spoiler alert, I don't care about teams as much as I used to be completely honest. Hamler only has 4 targets this year. That's fun. Let's grab Aguilar. And then I know where I want to go for my last wide receiver. We'll just double check running back, make sure there's nothing we want here. Stanky Muna says, I hate how much I was into the Broncos this season. It makes sense, though. Like, this is one of those ones where I don't think we can look back and really say we should have known all along, where there's other plays like, I don't know, like, let's say ETN in the 3rd round. And that's clearly me victory lapping for myself, but you could find a lot of pathways for that to bust. The Broncos as a whole, we thought were going to be a good offense, and everything made sense for them to be. There was very few reservations on that team. It sucks. Maybe they get it together. Who knows? But I don't think you should beat yourself up over that one. There's plenty of stuff for us to beat ourselves up over. And the Javonte thing sucks. We can't predict that injury, though. I mean, you're talking to the Javonte guy. You want to talk about sucking? I mean, I'm over 20% on Javonte myself, and a lot of my best ball teams had him on both my season-long teams. Like, it sucks, but it is part of the game. It is part of the risk, especially if you take a stand on a guy like that. Let's just grab Quez Watkins. Get on that Philly offense. I only need him to score like once this season based on where he's drafting. In the 18th round, we'll go over our team momentarily. Actually, we have time to go over our team right now. Let's just go over it. We have Lamar Jackson, Matt Stafford, who we got almost 30 picks past ADP. We had Josh Jacobs, Devin Singletary, Cam Akers, Chase Edmonds, Naheem Hines at running back. I think it's fine with 5 RBs on this team. Could have grabbed a 6. Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, Sky Moore, DPJ, Nelson Aguilar, Quez Watkins, and then at tight end we have George Kittle and Gerald Everett. I think it's a solid team. I think we are looking at a solid team here. I'm more than fine with it. But yeah, I don't think that the Broncos thing is something to beat ourselves up over at all. There's plenty that we can beat ourselves up over. Just there's so many things that we were clearly wrong on. Josh Jacobs is one that people were like dead set against. And look at him. If you were off on Josh Jacobs where you were getting him, that's something you can be upset about because you could see that pathway. The Broncos busting as hard as they're busting. I mean, the only red flag is why would Seattle trade Russell Wilson? But you could see that team was ready for a rebuild, so like it made sense. So I don't think you should beat yourself up over being so in on that team. Cool. So that is going to do it for our resurrection draft. Talked a little bit about the season today. It's October. I might be I'm not going to do it on stream probably. I might try to fire a big dog. Maybe we'll do it on stream tomorrow. I don't know. Talk to Eric. See what we got going on. I'd like to fire one of these big dogs. If we look at it, let's go back to our lobby. It's a big dog right now. Current entrance. There's only been 30 entrants right now, 24. So there's 6 in the lobby at the moment. I can't do it right now because, again, I have another show tonight, but this might overlay pretty big. First place is $10,000. I know $250 is a massive entry fee, especially with a tournament you might not be comfortable in. But for me, it might be a shot I want to take at grabbing some of that overlay if it's going to overlay. So you might see me hop in one of these big dogs. If I don't do it on stream, I will share the team. I'm going to plug myself. If you're into spooky stuff, tonight, Hometown Ghost Stories, every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. You want to switch it up and just catch a ghost story. Tonight involves a serial killer, which is a lot of fun, as much fun as a serial killer can be. But yeah, until next time, for myself, for everybody at Spike Week, which is more than just me and Eric. There are a lot of people behind the scenes. You have Silas, you have Numi doing a lot of work, and we appreciate all that. We will catch you later.